Alright, I'm cracking another drink open. Alright, so tonight. My bottle opener.
Twist off anyway, man.
Yeah, twist off. Alright, yeah. So tonight, I've got a high school friend from way back in the day coming on. So say hello to Tal Driscoll.
Hello.
Yeah. So just like I was just saying before, like the way I wanted to start this off, this guy actually got me into DJing. Not even fucking kidding. And now I'm playing at clubs and bars and this and that. Like I went to a house party and I saw you up there with a mate, and then it was like, I want to do that.
Yeah, those were good times.
Yeah, it was way back in the day.
Oh.
So you've been in bands, you've been doing this, you toured Australia, you've done.
Yeah, I did that a few times. It was pretty fun.
Shit. So how'd you get into music? Let's start this ball rolling.
I guess I started. Actually, I remember the first time I decided I wanted to get into music was when there was some cute girls in primary school that were playing trumpet, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go play trombone because that's obviously cool. And then my parents, I remember them going, you sure you want to play trombone? It's not
pretty interesting.
It's not the most transferable instrument. Yeah. And ended up playing trombone for a bit, and then got into guitar. Played guitar for a few years, and then my mum was late to pick me up one day and from guitar lessons, and I jumped on the electric drum kit and asked my guitar teacher to teach me some drums, and he was like, oh, you're a natural at this, you should probably start playing drums instead of guitar. Yeah. So did that, and then I remember I'd always known the guys that I started the band, that was in the band, and they were doing like a little acoustic thing at the beginning, and we linked up one day randomly, and Mitch dropped me off at And yeah, he was like, oh, you got drums? Like, oh, we're looking for a drummer. Like, you want to play? And that basically started the band, which we spent 9 years playing shows. And actually it was a long time. And it was funny because I think on about the 8th year, I remember, you know, the one night stands that Triple J did? There was one in Collie, and I remember seeing Cog play, and they were just like so sick live, so tight. And I remember watching that going, man, I want to play in a band. Like, and then, you know, 8 years later, we were actually supporting Cog on their West Australian leg of their tour and stuff, which was pretty sick. Like weird kind of thing to.
But the thing is though, is that you get to support the guys that like.
That's it. That got me into it. So that was pretty awesome. And I remember sitting there going, huh, this is like a little full circle moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then all the time since at least probably a year. Well, when I joined the band, because one of the guys that played guitar, he was also DJing, so I got me into DJing. So I've been also DJing that whole time, and kind of dabbled in electronic music production throughout there, but not until I left the band and moved to America that I kind of went, oh well, I still want to make music, but I have to do it all by myself now. So that's got a cracked version of Ableton and.
Yeah, the way you went.
Got into it, yeah.
Samples and,
yeah.
Because I remember way back in the day, like you were making I remember very like as a memory, it's like you were making like drum skins and shit like that, like in.
Well, I made drums, like so actually like the wooden drums in high school. I think it was year 11 and 12 I did that.
Yeah, like how hard is it to make?
It's pretty hard.
Yeah,
like,
it looks like it's pretty full on.
You got to make sure you get all the angles and the widths of everything right, because I was making stave style, so it's like a wine barrel.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, heaps of fun, and then chuck it on the lathe. And I've always been into woodworking. I've sold out of it now, but I had for about 4 or 5 years a wood workshop next to, you know, do you remember Bushak Brewery down in Dunsborough or in Yallingup?
Yeah.
So there's some big sheds there, and that's some of my friends' mum. She owns that whole property, so we actually set up a wood workshop in one of the big sheds there, and I started making a few more drums and, you know, furniture, tables, that kind of thing there as well. So I was always enjoyed drumming, and like the whole woodworking side, being able to make instruments was fun as well. I would really like to get more back into that, because it's just so much fun and quite rewarding, you know, when you've slaved away in blood, sweat and tears, and then
someone actually buys
it.
Like, I made that. Because that's the same thing. Like we've interviewed a few like artists and painters and stuff like that, and they've said the same thing. Where it's like, you know, they go and make something, or canvas art, and like, it's gonna sell.
Yeah.
They sell it for $1,000, and like.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the good things about building, especially like, you know, big slab tabletops and stuff. You can sell those for a crazy amount of money.
That's it. If you're working with Jarrah and shit.
That's it. And it's just fun, and people are always stoked with it. They're always like, "Oh, this is amazing!" I've actually got one table that I built in the house at the moment, because I built it for my dad, but he's obviously moved to New Zealand, so I snuck that out, and
I'm gonna keep that. So, did you make your own drum kit or anything like that as well?
Like never a full kit, but I've made like a bunch of snare drums and stuff. It definitely is on my list of things to do, but you know, being FIFO now, it's a bit hard. You've got to figure out what you're going to do with your time, but
so you have balance.
That's it. But I definitely want to get my wood lathe back out and start just making more sculptures and bowls and just doing stuff, because it's a lot of fun. But I'm always scared of the lathe, because it's just a big bit of wood spinning around, and if it comes off, it's pretty scary. So,
never seen
or if a chisel like catches and it flicks shit out, and scary, lose your fingers.
That's safety protection.
I still got them all. Don't worry.
So with the band then as well, like, so how did you guys? Because like you released a couple of albums? And stuff,
not albums. We did an EP in 2012 with like 5 songs on it, and then after that, we released probably. We did record another EP, but I don't think we ever actually released it for some reason. We're just the laziest band ever, which is actually interesting, because we did a lot of cool stuff, but looking back on it, you know, the benefit of hindsight, we didn't put enough effort in as we probably should, but we capitalized on what we could. But you know, it's
just one of those things.
It's just one of those things. Yeah, it's so frustrating, because we actually had some awesome opportunities, and Mitch, who was a singer in the band and did all the booking and stuff, he was pretty good at what he was doing and got us into a lot of closed doors for, you know, a small band that probably wouldn't have been able
that's the
to.
thing, 'cause, like, I don't reckon you guys are a small band. Like, you see, like, as I said, you travelled Australia. Like, that's pretty up there.
Yeah, it was pretty lucky, but yeah, I guess like we did some cool stuff, but it would have been awesome to, I don't know, I guess luck's involved as well. Sometimes you're not as lucky as other people, and
well, you got to be in the right place.
That's
at the right
that's
time,
it exactly. Yeah, but good fun. But yeah, we recorded a bunch of music and we did a couple of music videos and stuff like that, which was pretty cool.
Were you guys signed to any labels or anything like that?
No, we're just all independent. We did have one opportunity where Warner Brothers sent us over some money to record a song for them that they were using as like a show reel.
That's pretty fucking sick.
Toonami, and Adult Swim actually made a music video for that, which was pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Adult Swim's pretty
yeah.
dope,
So there was a company in Hong Kong that did all the animating and everything, and it was lots of the Adult Swim cartoons like chopped in and out of our film clip, which was pretty cool. We were all like, "Oh, this is sweet!" Like,
pretty sick.
And you know, just a bunch of dudes that just started drinking beers and jamming out. Like, we did get to do lots of cool things that we never thought would have been possible when we first started. So it was cool, you know, when things like that actually come to fruition. Because I'm sure you know as well, a lot of people in the music industry talk the talk, but don't back it up, you know? And
that's how it is, though. There's a lot of people out there. It's like, you know, it's controversial to say, but it's like they know how to DJ, but they can't DJ at the same time. But it's just like they know the right people, so they get the gigs. But then you go out and you watch their set, like, that's a mistake.
Yeah,
that's another mistake. Like, you should be playing main stage, like. But you know, it's a social thing.
That's it. It's good fun though.
Yeah,
I like being out there.
So then, like, how did you guys get into touring and stuff like that? Because, like you said, the guy, what was his name?
Mitch.
So he managed to do all the bookings.
Yeah.
But what were some of your very first gigs?
Our first gigs were like, we used to go and do like the Sunday sessions at Cave's house and stuff like that down in Yowes. And we'd do like a 3-hour set, or we'd play at the Dunsborough pub. Like, that was kind of our earlier stuff, and we were just doing covers and like kind of writing original music in the background. But maybe we'd throw one in every now and then. But at that point, you know, they weren't great, but the originals. But we kind of slowly got better and better at writing, and
it's just practice, though. That's
totally.
The thing.
Yeah. Songwriting's definitely a practice. We definitely didn't master it, but you know, it was good. So we did. Yeah, we would do yelling up at Cave's house, 3-hour sets, and we just, you know, get a little bar tab or whatever. Mind you, when I did first join the band, I was only 15, just turned 16. So
really,
there was a lot of that first times. Maybe when we go play like Battle of the Bands in Perth, or do a Wednesday night at like the Railway Hotel or something, and
then
still
like being 15, 16.
Yeah, so I'd go up on like a school night and come back and be back at school like hungover.
So you've been a rock star for that long.
Yeah, it was. We definitely thought we were rock stars at the time, but in hindsight, we definitely weren't. But no, that was good fun. But I do remember, you know, rocking up to school and being hungover and like, oh, I wish I could do that for a living and not go to school.
Then, like, so with that as well, like, did you guys, I mean, you obviously would have had like jam sessions and like try to get tight and this and that.
Yeah.
But like, how did you guys flow together as well? Because like I've heard from like interviewing other different bands and stuff like that, where it's like, you know, they have their specific ways of like, you know, like, because we interviewed Joan and the Giants.
Yeah.
And
okay.
so with those that memory blank, what were their names? Shit. Big shout out to them though. They're awesome. Like, they're a really good band. But it's like the way they write their music is like they throw all their emotions and feelings, and like they try and make songs that are like really meaningful.
Yeah.
And like, you know, things that have really like impacted them, and to try and like.
Yeah, that was definitely not our. We were just a bunch of dudes drinking beers and getting stoned, jamming out, like, and yeah, we always used to laugh because our songs would very rarely have any meaning beyond like, well, you know, or something about a girl or something about having a good time, and it was pretty broad.
Yeah.
But me and Jared, who played guitar, we had like one of those people. We had like an instant musical connection, and always wrote really well together and could kind of feed off each other, like in the improvisation kind of thing. So as he'd kind of build up to a part, I'd kind of, you know, would like match each other. So that was always good fun with Jared writing, because he was, yeah, we were just kind of in tune with each other.
That's still really good though, because then it's like you just mold well together.
Totally. And but yeah, we used to record. We used to rehearse in Dad's lounge room at his house in Dunsborough, and he let us jam in there for 5 years, two times a week from 5 till 7 or 8 o'clock.
No shit.
Every week we'd always be in there, because none of us also had any responsibility at that point. You know, we were all young, and yeah, it wasn't until houses and girlfriends and all that kind of stuff started coming in. Yeah. Life happens, and then everything became a little bit harder to organize. But yeah, it was good fun.
And so, like, when you guys toured around Australia and stuff like that, so like, what was that for? Because it was like Oktoberfest.
Yeah, the first couple of shows we did for Fringe Festival.
Okay, yeah.
So we went over to like Adelaide and stuff, and
that's still really cool, because
we thought it was cool. Yeah, we were like, "Well,
that is cool.
We can't believe people want us to go and do this stuff." Yeah. So we were all frothing. But then through, I want to say, well, we knew the guys that run Oktoberfest, I think, prior to any of that even happening, and how we actually got the Oktoberfest thing is a funny story, because we were at jam at my dad's place on, would have been a Wednesday afternoon. I think we might have even finished jam and we'd all like gone home, and Mitch got a call from a guy, Ken, who was playing in one of the other bands on Oktoberfest, and said, "Hey, like put another stage on at the Sydney Oktoberfest, but we need another band. Do you want to come and sing in our other band?" Which he said to Mitch, and Mitch was like, "Oh, I'm not really keen on singing for someone else," but he's like, "How about I call the boys and see if like if they want to do it?" And he's like, "All right, well, get back to me straight away." So Mitch called me and said, "What do you reckon?" I was like, "Holy shit, like when do they want us to do it?" And this was a Wednesday night, and they go, "Oh, we got to be there on Friday." And we were like, "What?" And we'd been playing originals and stuff by this point, so we had a massive back catalogue of cover songs, which is what they wanted us to play over there, but we hadn't really practiced them. But we were like, "Oh, I don't know." And Mitch called me and asked, "What do you reckon, you want to do it?" And I said, "Well, if Jared wants to do it, I'll do it." And he said, "Well, he said the same thing. He said, if you want to do it, he'll do it. So we're doing it, you know?"
Fuck.
So we jumped in the car the next morning, drove up to Perth to Ken's house, and because we were just guitar, drums, and a singer, and Ken was like, "Oh, I'll play bass for you then." So we just went through about, 45 minutes worth of music. That like once, and we were like, "Yeah, well, I can guess that sounds good." And then we jumped on a plane the next morning, flew to Sydney, and no, I think we actually jumped on a plane Thursday night, got to Sydney in the morning, and then went to this massive big festival.
Yeah,
we were like, "Holy
huge.
shit!" I think there was about 20,000 people.
Yeah, that's insane.
And so we went from just like 2 days before just jamming in Dad's lounge room, like, probably practicing for a show that we had or whatever. And then we're playing on this huge stage to like the most people we'd ever played to. And we did 2 sets in the day. So one was in the big beer hall where everyone's drinking on the big tables. And then one was on the main stage. And the first one was like 4,000 people. And then the one that was outdoors was probably like over 10,000. And we were just like shitting ourselves going, "Oh my God." Because you can't really like prepare yourself as much as you're like, "This is what we love doing," and blah, blah, blah. But, I would probably say our biggest show that we had drawn to, with our original music might have been 100 people or something, or 150 people. And yeah, we were over there playing cover music, but it was still that feeling of like, holy shit. And that's the other good thing about playing cover gigs to that many people is everyone's drunk because they're at an Oktoberfest, so everyone's wasted, having the best time, and you're just playing all the hits that everyone knows the words to, and everyone's just frothing out and just like listening to all those people singing back to it. And and that's actually what really made me go, "Oh, I really want to put more time into writing our own original stuff," because that feeling would be awesome if it was our music. But you know, I think by that point we kind of spoiled ourselves a little bit by having that opportunity, and then we could continually go back to Oktoberfest and every year. So we'd kind of just put more effort into that, that kind of thing. We'd still play, you know, support shows for bands that had come to WA, like June Rats and Delta Rigs and all those kind of bands.
Still, you supported June Rats.
Yeah, we did 2 tours with those guys in WA.
That's fucking sick as
And
well.
you know, and that's the thing. We played with so many cool bands that we all grew up listening to and like looked up to, and then it was just kind of surreal at times to be like, like we're playing with these cool guys. Like, I hear these guys on the radio all the time. They're sick, you know. Yeah. And we're out there hanging out and drinking beers with them. And everyone's super nice, you know.
Well, that's it. That's what everyone says about like the festivals and like touring and stuff like that. Usually, everybody, all the artists, they're just keen to hang out and just like just catch up and just have a beer kind of thing. Yeah. Because it's like the only time they can really get a break, almost like.
Totally.
Because I can imagine like people like June Rats, they'd always be on the next plane to the next city or something.
Yeah, pretty much. And we were kind of lucky because with Oktoberfest, obviously, it was just like one big show, and it was like each weekend of October. So like it would be like Perth on the first weekend, then we might go to Adelaide and Melbourne. Oh no, we'd do like Adelaide, and then there was 2 days in Melbourne or whatever, and so it'd be spaced out over the month, so it wasn't as hectic for us. I could, you know, from other bands of guys that we know, it does sound like touring is quite hectic because you're just flat out all the time. And you know, we also got to the point where we, you know, the first times we just went and stayed in the cheapest, dingiest, shittest places because we were like trying to save money. And there was one point we were all jammed into like these bunk beds, like 6 of us. Fuck. The roof was leaking on a storm in like St Kilda, and it was just everyone's snoring and farting, and it's just a shit experience. We were like, not doing that next year. Then we came back, and then we'd go and hire like a nice big Airbnb in like Bondi or something, and we'd all have our own rooms and our own beds, and it was because, you know, we weren't doing it all the time. If we were touring and having to pay for all of that, you know, ourselves from the money that the band made, I'd say we would have been a bit more frugal. But because we were getting looked after and we knew we were like planning for it, like, all right, everyone make sure you've got money for October because we don't want to do what we did last year and you know, get rained on and
have a ceiling leak.
Oh yeah, it was pretty funny. I remember, it's so good.
How many years in a row did you do that for?
I think I did 4 or 5 years of October. No, so the first year was just Sydney, because that's the one we just went over and did Sydney when we got the 2 days notice. And then after that, Mitch had kind of arranged, like, let's do the Perth one next year. And me being the, as Mitch would call me, but the fucking annoying person in the band, was always hassling him, which maybe I was, but maybe I wasn't. I was like, I'm not putting effort into just doing one. You should try and get the whole tour. Because I said, look, like, you can find someone else to do it, but I just don't want to put all this effort in when I wanted to write original music, to practicing these covers and taking up our valuable time. So I was like, try and get the whole one, then it'll be worth the effort. Sure enough, Mitch being able to, you know, he's pretty good at that kind of stuff. He organised the whole tour. So just got to fly around and do all that. It was so awesome. Yeah,
because like every October you're just like, all right,
that's it.
A rock star.
That's it. Yeah, and it's like the biggest fake rock star. You're like, we're out there killing it, not even playing our own songs. And like we would actually put a few of our own songs in there, but you know, when you're playing, you know, one of your own songs after like Sex on Fire by Kings of Leon, everyone's like, what the fuck's this shit, you know?
Yeah, I guess in a way. I mean, like, it's just one of those things, because like we've had this discussion before as well, where it's like cover bands, like it's what people want to hear.
Totally.
And it sucks because, like, you know, back in the day, it's like people would just go to the pub and just go listen to music.
Exactly.
But now it's like people just want to hear shit that they know.
Exactly.
And that way they can go and get pissed.
And also from a financial perspective as well, if you want to go and play covers, that's where the money is, because you're actually like the entertainment then. Like you're playing, you know that the people are going to like the songs, and after you do a bunch of shows, you figure out what people like and what they don't like. We'd go through and be like, oh, this is a sick song that like everyone knows, but it just might not go down that well. So you slowly like work out what songs are good and what works. But yeah, from a money point of view, unless you're like a big band that's touring, you just don't make any money as like an upcoming band. And so it was good because you know, at the beginning we did kind of subsidize ourselves by playing 1 or 2 cover shows a month, and then we'd put all the money into the band account. So then if we had to travel somewhere or buy guitar strings or drumsticks or whatever, we'd have money in like a little kitty.
Yeah.
But
would you have to use their drum kit and stuff like that over there? Also, Damo, can you look up Oktoberfest and pull it up and stuff like that? That's all right.
Well, yeah, they'd have backline gear over there. So all the guitar amps, drum kits, cymbals, all that was already set up, or already there, and we just set it up for the day. So that was awesome because the boys would just take their guitars and that was it. I just put a few drumsticks in my backpack and I'd be on the plane and I'd be like, sweet. And that was, you know, you get looked after, and they've got like good quality sound technicians up there that make it sound awesome. It's just crazy. You know, I remember that first time going from playing like a little show at like Mojo's in Freo, and you're like, yeah, cool, sounds good in here. And then you go onto like a festival stage. And, you know, I guess before we even did the Oktoberfest, like we did win a Triple J comp to play at Groove in the Moo.
Really?
We opened that in 2012, I think. And then we played at Park Life that year as well, I believe, because the Pile Rats guys, Alex Payoff, he, I kind of knew him through mutual friends, and yeah, they hooked us up with those spots, which was pretty sick because that's when like Rusco and Jack Beats and all that were playing at Park Life, and we were like, holy shit, like rubbing shoulders with these like massive DJs that we were all frothing. Did you get to
hang out with them at all?
Yeah,
really?
It was crazy. So
you actually got to have beers with fucking Rusco.
Yeah, well, Jared, you know, had a bit more than beers with Rusco apparently. Got a bit loose with him, so good on him.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is like when you're rubbing shoulders with like people like that, you're like, yeah, I made it.
Totally. And you fully think like that, and it's like looking back on it now, like I'm definitely, I would say, more humble about it, but like super grateful for the opportunities that we were able to somehow fall into. Because you know, because we always used to just laugh. We were just a bunch of dudes from Dunsborough that just like, oh, we got nothing else to do, let's start a band, you know. We all like music, but then just slowly doing all this cool shit, and like looking back on it now, I'm just like, holy fuck, that was so awesome.
That's it.
So
like,
awesome.
You have the time of your life in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been saying this to a few of my mates as well. It's because at the end of next year, I'm 30 years old.
Hectic.
And it's like, thinking about that, I'm like, okay, did I have fun in my 20s? Yeah, I had fun. I had a lot of fun in my 20s.
Yep.
And as long as you can look back and go like, yeah, well, I did this and I did that, well, then you've had a good time, right?
Exactly. And that's the thing, that's why I felt weird, because by the time I was 26, like that was essentially like 10 years of playing music and all that, and I still felt like, these other people I know are like just getting cracking and doing all this cool shit, and I felt like I had, like, because I've been doing it, I felt like I'd like missed the opportunity to like start something and do it again, kind of thing, because there was lots of other crew that were just starting to come up and
make waves and
and I still have this like desire to just play music and do all that, but I guess it's just more on a personal level now, because I know like if I died tomorrow, I would be very like just grateful and stoked with the opportunities we got with the band, because it was just I just would never have imagined it in my wildest dreams when we first started.
Yeah, a small little band from Dunsborough playing to 10,000 people. It's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, it was crazy. I loved it.
And then so with like Groove in the Mill and stuff like that, so like what other gigs and festivals and stuff like that? Can you pull up do you guys still have the Facebook page as well? For Dallas Royale?
I think so. Unless Mitch is, because I know he's, let me have a look, because I know he's got the his other band that's kind of, I don't know if he's using the
the page for
the page, yeah.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, it's like if you've got some.
No, it's up. Yeah, it's up there.
Because are the music videos on that page as well?
I don't think so. There might be some, but this just goes straight back to how fucking unorganized we were. We would just make this content, make singles, do whatever, and then we'd be like, yeah, we'll just chuck that on to Triple J on Earth, and then that's it. And we just never do anything with it. We'll like wonder like, why aren't we like getting more traction or doing this? And we would still, you know, obviously do things slowly, but if we had have stayed organized and like had, you know, a bit of a social media plan and all that kind of stuff, we probably would have been able to harness a bit more of that momentum that we had.
Yeah, because that's the thing as well. It's the same thing with DJing. It's like a good friend of mine who actually kind of taught me how to do it proper. He basically said, like, if you want to try and make it as a DJ, you got to be a graphic designer,
Totally,
a business plan, like a business manager. You got to be a marketing manager, like marketing master kind of thing. And you just have to put all your time and effort into just making sure your content stays like
relevant and
fresh
enough
and,
of it coming out. Because you know, I guess with all the bloody algorithms and however it works, like you've got to be constantly posting stuff.
Yeah. And they keep changing the algorithms, and it keeps like everything keeps changing with Facebook. Like they've just made this stupid thing where you actually have to swap profile now. Because
really?
Before you could just go, okay, like so on this, like for the Infra-Red podcast, I could just open this up in one tab and then have my actual Facebook up on another tab. But you can't do that anymore. You
actually like log out of it and log into the new one.
And so that's what I mean. So like when I was trying to make the post yesterday and trying to do the picture and stuff like that, I was like, okay, jumping backwards and forwards, like this is bullshit. Like this is not fun at all. But it's how Facebook controls. Because that's the thing as well. It's like, you know, if being an artist or, you know, making music or being a DJ or this or that, you have to suck Facebook's dick, basically. You really have to let them. You have to bend over and let them fuck you in a way. Because what other platform does anyone use, kind of thing?
Well, there's nothing else that has the user base, you know. It's
like MySpace used to be really good.
Yeah.
But that's gone out the window. It doesn't exist. Well, it does exist, but no one uses it, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't see how it's going to change either.
Yeah.
I think they've kind of got a grip on it, and
going to keep getting more and more controlling, and then it's the way it is. Because that's the thing as well. Like, I've got friends that did a few podcasts on like YouTube and stuff like that, but then they just don't get the traction. Because to try and direct people to YouTube, it's like people just sit there and scroll their newsfeed instead.
Exactly.
And then like they got rid of that feature where you had the preview as well, where you can actually scroll and a YouTube video would pop up. But now it's like you get copyright striked and all sorts of shit, and it's just it's all over the place.
Yeah, that's the hard thing, I guess, with the whole YouTube as well is. There's so much stuff, like, and because of, you know, say like the success of people, I watched that bloody Logan Paul fight yesterday against Mayweather and stuff, and at the pub, and kids want to be YouTubers now because, like, look at what they can achieve.
That's it.
And so there's just so much content out there, so much stuff. So to stay relevant or interesting.
That's it. You have to be an influencer, basically. And that's what sucks.
Which I don't think I'll ever be. No, I just don't fucking care.
Yeah, I'm just too old for it. But it's just 100% that. It's like, I get requests these days for like TikTok music. I'm like, no. Like, what the fuck's TikTok music? And I try and get them like, okay, find me the song name and the artist name and I'll buy the songs. Like
play it from this TikTok.
Yeah, but it's on this video. I'm like, that doesn't help me. Like, this is bullshit. And it's the kids of this generation now. The way technology's changing and everything else.
Yeah.
So it's bonkers.
It is. It's going to be interesting seeing where, like, because think about just the progression of technology in the past 10 years. Where is it going? Like, where can it go to next?
That's it, yeah.
It feels like we're like, we're at the peak. It's like, we can't get anything better. And then something else is going to come out and blow it all out of the water.
That's it. And it's the same thing with music as well, how music changes. Because, like, you know, we've been having this discussion multiple times in different podcasts and stuff like that, where it's just like, you know, it's like what we were talking about before. Like, I love old school dub, like Rusko and Casper, and just like, you know, Schism and all the classic stuff. But now it's all rhythm, and it's just like, it's all molded into this new genre, basically.
Yeah, totally.
And it's all headbanging music, and it's not bad, but it's like, at the same time, it's like, it's just changed completely.
Well, that's what I liked about going to Lost Lands in America, because there was, you know, a fair bit of that rhythm style music, but, you know...
But they had the subwoofers, the back.
Dude, it's so loud. Like, it actually blew my mind. I was just tripping balls going, holy fuck, this is the loudest thing I've ever heard. We're standing probably 200 meters, 300 meters from the main stage back, and like if you just open your mouth, like the bass would move the air in and out of your body.
Really?
It was crazy. They give you earplugs, like a little Lost Land earplugs when you get to the festival.
No shit.
They're like, you should wear these. I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go in and party.
So loud.
Can you look up Lost Lands? That's all right, Damon.
It's like prehistoric themed.
Mm.
So there's just giant dinosaurs everywhere, and so they've got like 2 main stages, and one of them has a huge big stegosaurus. Like, and the DJs are in between its legs, and it's this massive. It's probably like 100 feet high or something.
What the fuck?
So sick.
But what? So is that at that amphitheater place at all?
It's at like a big. It's just like on a giant kind of oval thing. It was in Columbus, Ohio.
All right. Yeah, because it's one of the big ones over in America.
Yeah,
right?
well, Excision puts it on. It's his festival.
Oh, is that the one where he has the like 100,000 watts of bass? Whatever.
Yeah, dude.
Oh shit! So you went to that one.
Well, so that's what he would do. I think it was 50,000 watts of whatever. That he was touring with, but this is like the festival version. So like, it's just the biggest thing.
That's nuts.
And it's so loud. Yeah. So it's so sick.
Play the trailer, but mute it if you can, if that's right.
It's insane. And everyone like fully goes hard on dressing up like cavemen, and it was camping. And
so you camped as well then?
Yeah, I picked up one of my mates. He'd been living in Canada, and I picked him up from the airport in North Dakota, and we drove like 23 hours straight from North Dakota to Columbus, Ohio.
Oh shit.
Just wiped out, got there, realized that the tickets that I'd bought somehow didn't actually go through because I put my name on the tickets, but I used my uncle's credit card and I just transferred him the money. But then they were like, it was like a fraud thing. So they were like, cancelled the payment. So I got there and I was like, yeah, where's their tickets? And they're like, oh, they've been cancelled because of like, it's a scam thing. I was like, it's not a scam. Like, I'm here. I want to go to the festival. So then I had to buy them there, and we had this shitty little tent that had no fly over the top of it. And it was raining one morning, and we were, passed out, cooked on cat or something, and I was like, what's that? And it's like raining on top of us, and we're just soaking wet and dying. But we've got all these dinosaurs, massive trees everywhere, and just the loudest music you've ever heard.
It just looks
and when it goes to nighttime, the lasers, because I had a couple of mates who were DJing there.
Well,
and so
actually, really?
Yeah, they were playing there. So I went, and on the second night, I actually lost my mate Adam. We were like, oh, let's meet at the toilet. And we both just walked to different toilets. So I just lost each other. There's like 45,000 people there. And so I called my mate Matt, who was DJing on the stage with the big dinosaur on it. And he got me like a backstage pass. And so I was up on the stage, like that stage with that dinosaur on it, man. It's so sick.
That would have been
It's so sick.
Though.
And dude, the lasers, there's so many lasers going on, and on the back of the stage it actually says danger, radiation, like lasers. And I'm like, but they're shooting the lasers at the people. Like behind it has all these warning signs, don't go near them. And I'm like, they're actually shooting lasers at all the people.
What the fuck? But that would have been insane though, just standing there and be like, okay.
And like when those big flames and fireworks go off, and like you can feel the heat of it. It's so cool.
So you just got to see like just a massive sea of people then, basically.
Yeah, so many people. It was awesome.
That's just nuts.
It was actually, I was just surprised. Like, Australian festivals are a joke compared to this kind of stuff. I guess you have more people in America. Like, they can, you could never put this festival in Australia because I don't think you'd get 45,000 people that are just going to go to a big dubstep festival. But
yeah. Well, see, that's the thing as well, because when I used to go to Capital all the time, I actually talked to quite a few like Americans that have come over here to play gigs, and they told me they just don't play at clubs. Mm-hmm. They don't play at bars or anything like that. It's all festivals, and you just go on the festival circuit. And you just tour around America and just go and play here and here and here. Just
doing like Hard Summer and all those big
Electric Days.
EDC, Carnival. Man. I was showing my girlfriend pictures of that today, and I was like, man, EDC, we should go.
Yeah, it looks
crazy.
But then, so what drove you over to America? Like, so
I wanted to stop partying, and I was just getting.
No one can stop partying.
Yeah, but I was just doing it every weekend, just getting cooked and losing sleep and feeling shit, and smoking bongs every day. I was smoking like 50 bongs a day, and I just was like, I just can't keep doing it to myself. I had to just put the brakes on, and that's why, because my dad's brother lives over in North Dakota, so that's who I went to go and stay with, and yeah, it was just good because a tiny little town with like 150 people in it, and just went there, got pretty much, I still drank beers, but didn't do any drugs until that festival actually. Then I did all the drugs, but
just had a chill.
Yeah, just I had to just slow down and give my head a break, and also I'd always wanted to go and do a farming season because that's what I was doing, working on a farm over there. So doing the seeding, harvesting, spraying, and all that kind of stuff. And I've always liked working with my hands, and it interested in me. So I just needed to get away from Dunsborough and all the shit that I was doing and go and do something that I felt was like constructive and I would get value from. And it was the best decision I ever made because came back and actually I went to New Zealand for about 6 weeks on the way back and worked on another farm over there, made some friends there. And I don't know, it was just good to like stop and do something else and like get my brain back in order, so I wasn't feeling shit all the time.
You learned had you worked on farms prior to going over there?
I hadn't worked on farms, but like my auntie and uncle have a farm up in Wongan Hills in the wheat belt here in WA.
Yeah.
So I've always been around the farms and all that kind of stuff, but I always wanted to go and work up at the wheat belt spot. But it just somehow turned out easier for me to go to America and work on the other side of the family's farm than over here. But yeah, it was just good to work with your hands. I learnt heaps. Learnt to drive like semi trucks. Yeah. So like just battling down the road like with these big 12-speed gearboxes with shit in, massive trailers. That was pretty fun. Had big handlebar choppers and like aviator sunnies and like a trucker cat, just full, dive into it. Yeah, it was classic.
Then that would, as you said, like you would have learned so much. It would have been great. Yeah, it's like life experience.
Totally, and it blew my mind how skilled like my cousins were, who were a couple of years younger than me, the guys that I was working for. But they can just do so much stuff, like full man shit, and they're like, yeah, we'll get in there and just fix it. And I love working with my hands and getting dirty, and it was just cool working on such massive machinery, and that kind of was when I did a bit of that. I was like, I could probably come back and work FIFO now that I'm, not partying all the time, and I've got experience in this big machinery, and so that's when I kind of came back to try and get into some operator roles and that, but heaps of fun.
So were you in America still when COVID happened, or?
Nah, so I got back. I'm so glad that I wasn't, because that would have been a shit show.
Yeah. Oh. It is. It's still a shit show.
It's still exactly. So no, I got back on the 7th of December, 2019, and then so it wasn't really even a thing at that point. Maybe like I don't remember hearing anything about it until probably end of January, maybe. Yeah. And then I remember it was pretty starting to happen, and we got back from America, and I moved to Perth because I was going to do all this fun stuff and play more music. And I've been DJing and been writing like more electronic music, so I was ready to, start playing my own stuff and go out and get some gigs. And yeah, shit time to move to Perth because the city kind of just shut down after that. And one of my mates, Matt, who Cod Dubs, I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a dubstep DJ from America, but he was actually over here on his Australian New Zealand tour when all that shit kicked off, and it went from 600 people to 100 people, like banning venues. So his whole tour got cancelled.
Really?
Couldn't go to New Zealand, and then he ended up calling me from Sydney and saying, "Oh, can I come crash at your place? Because I don't know anyone else in Australia." And everything that you're hearing on the news, he's from Brooklyn in New York, and New York was where it was kicking off the worst in America.
Yeah, I had a friend over there, and she was saying there was like mass graves and stuff.
Hectic,
like that.
Yeah. So really we're just sitting watching the news every arvo, drinking beers, and it's like New York, like hundreds more cases, blah blah blah, and Matt's just sitting there going, "Dude, like I don't know if I should go back. This is kind of scaring me." So he ended up staying at our place for like 6 weeks until he was trying to decide if he was actually going to go back to New York or not, because he had a fair bit of time on his visa because he could still stay. But Yeah,
So did he end up going?
he did end up going home, but
Is he all right?
yeah, he was fine. I don't think he got it. He's had his jabs and all that, but all my family that I lived with in America got COVID.
Really?
Yeah.
And they all good as well?
Yeah, as far as I've heard, no one's dead yet, so that's good. Touch wood. But yeah, my younger cousins, they all got it from being at college, you know, and but they lost all their taste and smell and whatnot.
But they get it back though, right?
Eventually, but it's still not fully back, and they've had it, you know, they got it months and months ago.
Fuck.
But they're all the kind of, you know, they're like, we're not wearing a mask, that's taking away our rights, you know? I was like,
we've
all
had
right.
this discussion multiple times where it's, what wasn't it? It's like, you can take, what was it? It's like, you can take the guns out of America, but you can't take the guns off of the citizens or something like that? No, we're discussing. yeah. But it's just like...
Got differing opinions on that one, do you?
But it's just like the liberty kind of in a way.
Well, it's in the Constitution, isn't it?
That's it. To own a weapon, like.
Good on them.
Yeah, it's America. So.
Yeah, land of the free.
Yeah.
Oh, they're classic though.
So where else did you go in America when you were over there? And
I spent some time in Vegas because Matt, my mate, I was just talking about, he had a show in Vegas. So
like, how did you meet this guy? So he's just online, like.
No, it was weird. Because
if he's playing big shows, like playing in Vegas and stuff like
that,
that's pretty fucking cool. Like.
It's weird. So I think what happened is, so the first time I went to it, this is actually a weird story as well. The first time I went to America, this is kind of how I met a bunch of these like bigger DJs. I was going to this festival in San Jose called Toxic Summer, and Josh Dittmer, who I was over in America with, he decided not to come. So I randomly, the guy that I bought the tickets off, I found him on Facebook and got his number or something and called him and was like, hey, this is going to sound weird, but like I'm that Australian guy that bought tickets off you for this festival. He was like a promoter or an ambassador for the company. Said, my mate's pulled out, like I've got no one to go with. Like, is there any possibility that I might be able to link up with you before the show and you can just show me around or introduce me to a couple of people? And he was like, yeah, man, no worries. Like, why not? And I rocked up to this hotel and he was actually up there with this guy, David, and Danny, who's Sudden Death and Yaks, some like, you know, massive DJs over there.
You met Sudden Death?
Well, I didn't know who they were, right?
Yeah.
So I had no idea. I'm just like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, like, yeah, cool, like, nice to meet you guys. Yeah, like, just some fucking Australian dude just come out of nowhere. And I was sitting in there, and it was actually funny. Connor, the guy who I had made the connection through, he was going out with this chick called Leah, which is how I had got introduced to her. And so we're up there and I'm asking him, so what do you do? And David and that were like, oh yeah, like we're DJs. And I'm like, yeah, fucking oath. I got bloody Technics at home. I'm a DJ too. Like, you play any shows? And they're like, yeah, we're playing at the festival. And I was like,
okay.
Oh, so you guys are like, cool. Like, all right. Yeah. I was like, maybe these guys are like
pretty big.
Yeah. I had no idea. Honestly, no idea. And then I was talking to Connor's girlfriend and I was like, so what do you do? And she's like, I make videos on the internet. And I was like, yeah, sick, like YouTube and stuff. And she's like, yeah. And everyone's kind of like snickering, like laughing. Ended up posting a picture of us all later on that night. And then Tristan, like one of my housemate at the moment, he DMs me straight away. He's like, dude, what are you doing hanging out with Alex Lynx? Like, I was like, who the fuck's Alex Lynx? I was like, that's Leah. And he goes, sent me a profile and she's like a porn star with like 500,000 followers on Instagram. And I just had no idea because she introduced herself to me as Leah and that was that. So I'm just laughing like, maybe I'm hanging out with all these like cool people and I just don't even realize it. I just had no idea.
Just a casual porn star.
Yeah, and they were all super nice, hell friendly.
Yeah. We're just real people.
Well, that's it. And because I came into it actually not knowing at all. So I wasn't trying to be like some dude, I want to hang out with the DJs and like get backstage and all that. I just honestly had no fucking idea who they were. And they were like, this guy's all right. He actually has no idea that we're, you know.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
So it's kind of funny. And then through meeting David, I think when David toured Australia, he had Matt, who's Cod Dubs, over playing on the tour with them.
Mm.
And then I think we were at Amber before it turned into Lucy's. Yeah. And I think we just got loose together, me and Matt, and just had a friendship. And then the next time Matt came over with Al Ross and Killfeed, we were just hanging out, catch up. I went there before. They were at an Airbnb somewhere, and they were trying to get me to stay and drink more beers, and I was like, oh, I don't want to drink more beers. I gotta go. And they were like, come on, just one more. And I was like, oh, fuck it, all right. And I just pulled a straw, a Macca's straw out of the rubbish bin and just straw pedoed a beer in front of them, and they were like, what the fuck? What is that?
Really?
Yeah, and
I've
so
never seen that before.
Nah, and they were just losing their shit. So now we're all fucking doing straw pedos and getting loose and just having a hell fun time.
Yeah.
And that kind of just built my friendship with a couple of these international DJs and American DJs. And then through them kind of having heaps of fun, and obviously when we all just got along super well, and then so they'd go home and tell stories about, oh, you got to meet this dude when you go over there.
Bloke, yeah.
And then so other crew would come over and I'd just slowly meet him. And then when I was at that Lost Lands festival, Al Ross, Cold Dubs, Yaks, Sudden Death, all these. Not that I really know Sudden Death at all. I just met him that one time at Toxic Summer.
It's still pretty cool though.
But these other boys were all DJing at this Lost Lands festival. So I hit them up and was like, oi, should I come? And they were like, fuck yeah, you should come. Let's go. Yeah. So I got a ticket, and then it just I wanted to go and hang with them more, but because I went with Stando, couldn't bail on each other. But when we did lose each other on that second night, I was called him up and I was like, oi, get me that backstage pass. I want to come hang. And we were just up cranking free beers on stage, and it was just so cool. And one of those very grateful for it now, because it was just random how it all happened.
Yeah. But
super fun.
It's like what it said, it's the right place, right
totally,
time.
Totally.
Meet someone, you're all right, let's just have a few beers and see where this takes us.
See where it goes, exactly.
Standing in front of 45,000 people later.
Yeah, it was crazy. Okay, I was like, this is fun.
That'd be so good though, because then after all this COVID shit's over, then you can go back over there and be like, hey,
100%.
Let's go on tour again. I'll come hang out.
Well, that's the thing. I'd love to be able to go and do that over there if I have a bit more time and money, because that's when I was living there, and Matt just hit me up and he goes, bro, I've got a show in Vegas, it's on this date, fly in. We just booked a room at the Hooters Hotel in Vegas, which is at the base of the strip near the airport, and then we just cut sick in Vegas for probably 2 days, 2 days and 2 nights, and then jump back on the plane back to North Dakota, and then I'm sitting in a tractor again out in the field with nothing around me, just being a farmer again. It was hell funny.
So how did you find Vegas as well? Was that any good?
Vegas is psycho, but it's you wouldn't want to personally, just knowing how I am, because once it's on, it's on. I don't think I'll ever go there for longer than 3 days. Because it honestly is if you've been to Disneyland or Adventure World or any shit, a theme park, it's just a theme park for adults with alcohol. It's all it is, because everything's built just giant and just ridiculously over the top.
Yeah.
And there's just fucking lights flashing and sounds, and it's just woo, it's just flat out all the time. But do
you ever go off the strip at all?
Not really. We went down to the old part, Fremont Street, which is the first strip with the Gold Nugget and all those older casinos, but I never ventured out into the suburbs of Vegas or anything like that.
Because we've interviewed an American who's been to Las Vegas a couple of times, and we've talked about where apparently when you go off the strip, it's just just desolate. It's just it's not even just desert, it's just kind of slums almost.
Yeah. I heard there is a shitter part, and then there's the nice part of Vegas, so there's pretty low income kind of housing, and then the nicer suburbs and stuff. But
that's the thing as well, because when you have something like that where it's just the Golden Mile almost kind of thing, it's those people, don't even know how to explain it. It's like the people that live out in the slums probably work at the casino.
Totally,
but
totally.
That's like their life.
Or they might be like a dealer or something, and all they do is stand at the table for maybe like $16 an hour.
Yeah.
12-hour shifts, just flipping cards, and
that's it. Just getting by, kind of thing.
It is pretty funny though, Vegas. It's just weird. Like when you get there and you're just like, and like you can smoke indoors in like the casinos, and if you're sitting at a table, they'll just bring you free drinks to like keep you at the thing. So you're always just getting hammered, and you're just like, let's go to the next one, and you're just like, I think you can have a plastic cup on the street, like on the street, because usually you get done for like street drinking and stuff, but excuse me. Yeah, if you've got a plastic cup, you can like drink up and down the strip. So you're just drunk the whole time, which is fun. But you get
3 days. Like to do it like 2 weeks or something like that, you wouldn't be able to do it. No one would be able to do it.
No, and I don't actually think like I don't think there's like, unless you like gambling. I'm not a gambler because I'm too stingy with my money.
Yeah, that's the same thing, yeah.
I don't have enough money to lose, you know what I mean? So I don't know what else you do there. Like you go there, get loose, maybe play a little bit of blackjack, go to the strip club, and then fucking fly off and spend time somewhere else, you know?
Yeah, that's it. 'Cause there's so many other great things you can do in America. Like,
so many.
Go to California, go to New York.
California's awesome. One of my favorite places was Colorado. So we flew into like Denver and went to Red Rocks. Have you heard of that place?
Really? Red Rocks?
Awesome. Went and saw Zed's Dead there.
No shit.
So Zed's Dead, Ghastly, like Camo and Crooked.
They would have been offered shit.
It was
that
loose.
Their little festival?
Yeah, called Dead Rocks.
Yeah, Dead Rocks. Yeah, that
awesome,
would have been
man.
sick.
It was so yeah, that place. Honestly, it's like 10,000 people, and it's just crazy that they go, you know what? This is the most like amazing, like those huge big rocks, and they went, let's put a fucking amphitheater here and just put gigs on, and it looks out over like this amazing, like, because you're quite high up, so you look out over this huge big like landscape. And again, they must have different kind of sound laws in America, because this just the sound quality and how loud it is
there like residential close by to that or anything like that?
Kind of, but it's a bit more sparse. But I do know that there is complaints. It's in a little town called Morrison, I believe. And
dubstep acts on.
Totally. And I'm pretty sure I just saw Subtronics just sold out his
really?
He's doing his own headline show there. Yeah, I think it's like Dead Rocks, see that? So but always see Zeke Beats is playing, he's from Perth. He rips. He's crazy.
Yeah, he's making big moves.
Hey? Nah, he's just on that
on the lineup.
On the lineup there, Zeke Beats. On the one above that one. Yeah, that guy Zeke Beats, man. He plays like, he just is the sickest DJ.
And Sippy's on there as well?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Because I'm pretty sure Sippy's from over.
Is that a chick as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I've met her. I've had beers with her at Capitol.
Yeah, boy.
But that's the thing, though. It's like what we were saying before, like what you're saying. It's like you don't really realize, like, because when I was at Capitol, and like people would come downstairs, like, just, oh yeah, you want a beer? And you talk about, oh, I played here and I've done this and done that. Oh fuck, like, all right.
I know, it'd be so cool to.
And they're like, they're proper like rock stars.
Big dogs.
Yeah, big dogs. Yeah. But yeah, so where else did you go in America and stuff like that? Like, how was California? Was it?
Yeah, Cali was sweet. So first time I went, I went to like Santa Monica, stayed in there. It was like pretty close to LAX, so you kind of just come straight out. And California's nice. It's a bit. The first thing I thought when I was in LA, I was like shocked at the homeless situation, and like you got like the Bel Air Hills and all this awesome stuff, like where the Hollywood sign is, and it's just like these mansions, and then you come down and there's just like it's really sad, like homeless people, and then Ferraris driving past them, and like I literally saw a guy bleeding from the face on the ground, and a Ferrari just driving past, and I was like, that juxtaposition of like looking up at the hills and they're looking down at these fucking it's hectic.
It's a similar thing as well, because I've been to Hong Kong and China 4 times. And like when you go to Hong Kong and you
Yeah.
go actually into mainland China, it's a similar thing. You see like, the homeless people and like you see like poverty and all everything. Then you see people who are just driving past in Porsches
Yeah,
and shit
it's
like
crazy.
that. And it's like, okay, well he obviously owns a company and he's just like doing something really good. But then look at everyone else. Like they're just trying to gnarly. Get by.
So that was pretty eye-opening, I thought. And then we bought like a Greyhound bus and went to Arizona, cruised down there. Greyhound bus, wouldn't recommend.
No. Well, what's a Greyhound bus?
It's just like a coach liner, but they're just old and smelly and hot and just
full of old people.
They're super cheap. It's like $15 to go like for an 8-hour bus drive or something. But just not a bit scary almost because there's some pretty hectic characters that are like, oh.
Yeah, who are you?
And you just also you don't know who has guns. Not that it was like scary, but it's just. You just never know. You never know.
Pistol kind of
Yeah, so that was always. I was like, I don't think I'll ever be catching a Greyhound bus again. Yeah. And then we went back from Phoenix in Arizona and Scottsdale to. Oh, we bought a car over there, which ended up being a piece of shit. And we drove that to San Bernardino, went and saw Tool play, which was crazy.
So was that after their new album as well?
No, this was in 2017, so before. But I think they had played. You know that big drum solo track that starts in the album? Yeah, they did play that. But yeah, we drove that car. I think we got a grand total of about 10, maybe 11 hours driving out of it before we had to sell it because it like cracked the head. It was just
really just full on.
Yeah, we had to buy like a big box of oil because it was just pissing oil out and. We drove from San Bernardino to Vegas and it was about 51 degrees and it was hot.
Like 51 degrees Fahrenheit then?
No, so it was like 121 Fahrenheit. So it was about 50 degrees Celsius.
What
so
the
it was
fuck?
hot. And you're out in the desert.
Yeah.
And we were just panicking like, dude, if this car doesn't make it, like the further we were going on the interstate, we're like either a tow truck's going to have to come from Vegas or come from San Bernardino. And it's not going to be good. Like, it probably would have meant we had to go home because it would have been so expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
But we luckily made it. Every like half an hour, we'd top the oil up, went through like, I don't know, probably like 20 litres of oil in a 5-hour drive. Probably more than 20 litres, actually.
Holy
it was
shit.
And all the back of the car was covered in oil and it was so bad. And it was so stressful because we were at a Tool gig the night before and, I'd met this random other Australian guy, so we invited him to come, and obviously it's a Tool gig, so we dropped some acid. But then I'm like coming down, stressing out.
Yeah,
I'm like, if this fucking car doesn't make it, I was like, we don't have enough water. Oh my god, like we're gonna actually die in the desert. This is bad. Just coming down off acid, really. But it was just not a good. It was just not a good time. I was just stressing, and it was driver's side window didn't go down. It was just hot as fuck. No air conditioning. It was one of those big Chevy Gladiator vans, so like big vans,
big square vans.
Yeah, it's like got like the couch in the back and like the big captain's chairs. It was pretty fun, but it's funny now. But at the time, it was really hectic.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's a life experience, right? You just go out and have fun and be like, all right, can she make it? Come on, make it.
We were like, come on, baby, you can do it.
That van looks fucking sick.
Yeah, exactly like that. Yeah, classic. Yeah, it was so funny.
And then, like, did he actually have a couch in the back?
Yeah, dude, I had a full couch in it, and
And so, like, with the seatbelt laws and stuff like that, like.
Yeah, like that, so you could lay it down for a bed. We initially bought it because we were like, we'll use this as our accommodation and drive everywhere. And then we got about 10 hours out of it. We had to sell it and then we had to fly everywhere else. And it just like shot all the funds. So that's like the first time I went up to North Dakota. We actually worked for my uncle and stuff then because we were like, we need money. Do you have any jobs for us? And he goes, yep. They actually own a cabin on an island in the middle of a lake. And so we went and renovated the cabin and put all new windows in, new doors, put new flooring down, all wall trims, and my uncle ran like electrical and stuff. And
that's pretty cool though.
Yeah, it was sick.
Cabin in the middle of fucking.
Dude, it's on an island. It's so cool. It's like it's an island. Probably, how big would it be? Probably like the size of like a block of land for like a 4x2 or something. And it's only a little 2-bedroom cabin, but it had been run off a diesel generator for since the 70s, and then my uncle was like, I'm going to pay to get like like an electrical line dredged in from the mainland to the thing, so it's got its own electricity.
Yeah.
Cost me like 50 grand or something, but
the thing is that once you got power on that,
it just changed everything. Yeah. It's got a heater, it's all nice down lights, and
a fridge, like
totally fridge, electric oven, like all that stuff. Because before then, it was you had to run the generator, and that would run, you know, maybe like a little chest fridge that they'd bring, or everything was an esky. Now it's like pimped out, hell nice, and
so that was in North Dakota.
In North Dakota, yeah, you can actually ski. Like I skied from America into Canada without a visa, and then came back. Yeah, so it's like Lake Metagoshi. It's right on the border.
You feel hell badass doing that.
I was like, yeah, breaking the law.
Yeah, getting into Canada for free.
Yeah, that was
funny. Did you ever go into Canada though? Other than that,
yeah, we took we went up for the Calgary Stampede, which is apparently like the biggest rodeo in the Northern Hemisphere.
Okay.
Which was pretty cool. And that was awesome. So we took 2 draft horses up. So, you know, like the big Clydesdale type horses, those massive big ones. Mm-hmm. So we took 2 of those up, drove about 12 hours, and entered those into the rodeo in the heavy horse pool, which is when they tie these 2 big horses to a concrete sled, and they've got to pull the weight over 14 feet, and then they load it back up and put more weight on it, and so you keep going and doing that.
Fuck.
So that was pretty cool, going to the rodeo and meeting like real legit cowboys who are like, they don't fuck around, super serious, super tough. You know, jumping on bulls and those Broncos and stuff.
Revolvers in their pockets and all sorts of
Well, this was in Canada, so they didn't have the you know, the guns, the Canadians are a bit, you know, they're just kind of like Australians, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Cowboys, they do not fuck around. And I was getting a bit boozy and getting a bit mischievous as I do.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I nearly got beaten up by a bunch of them just for being like, oh man, I really like your shirt. And it was like, boop, and like bopped him on the nose. And he was like, man, like, what? It's like, I was like, dude, it's a joke. And he's like, man, we don't fuck around. We lose kind of stupid jokes, bro. I was like, okay.
All right, yeah, calm down, cowboy.
It was a joke. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get beaten up by cowboys.
At least that's a story as well.
Oh, it would have been bad.
But that sounds hectic as fuck, though. Like, horses having to pull a slab of concrete, like...
Yeah, well, so... But, you know, that's what before they had, you know, cars and trucks, like they used horses to pull shit around, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess it's just you know, they've kept doing that kind of thing as a competition, you know, in the rodeo. But
it's like Peter would want to know about that.
Yeah, I don't think they froth the rodeos, the old animal rights groups. Personally, I think they're awesome, but I do understand it's not the most...
Because if I saw that, I'd be like, holy shit, that horse is going to have a short life. Like,
yeah, it's pretty impressive watching it. Like, they can pull like 5,000 pounds. Like just huge weights. Like, probably more than that. I'm probably underselling it. But I think they actually weigh, the horses, both of them weigh 5,000 pounds or something. So they can pull like 14,000 or something ridiculous.
So how big are they? Like,
just type in like draft horses, or like, you know, like the Budweiser horses and stuff. Yeah, that's a breed.
Never seen or heard about.
Or like the Belgian draft horse and stuff.
Yeah, they weigh about 700 to 1,000.
Oh, holy shit!
Yeah,
those things.
They're crazy.
Yeah, they're massive, man. They got their big fucking hairy feet.
Wait, pull up the images and see how big it is.
But like my head, more like you can just look over the back of them, but they're so big and they're held docile, really nice.
Yeah, that's a long-sized guy around.
Oh,
huge. They're like legit huge. Bro.
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
And when you see them, like they're like they've got these big like harnesses on, and they kind of like get the weight like tight on these big chains, and then just like lean into it, and they're just like and start dragging this big concrete block along, and yeah, it's hectic.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. So cool.
So then, like, you'd obviously want to go back to America, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. That's them, eh?
No, that's a pony guy still, I think. It was a really big dude.
Big, yeah, it's beast. No, I'd love to go back to America if I could. I don't know if I'd go and live in North Dakota where I was again. I'd definitely go back and stay and hang with the family, but a little bit too isolated for my likings.
150 people.
Yeah, and you get to know everyone pretty well, and everyone knows everybody.
That's it.
And my uncle over there is quite respected in the community. He does a lot of community work and helps out a lot. But there was a couple of nights where I'd go out and get on the beers and cause a bit of a ruckus and maybe embarrassed him a few times. And because they're all super conservative and like, you know, very religious. So they, you know, some of them are quite racist and that very, you know, homophobic. That kind of not.
Just old school.
Just
thinking
well,
kind
just
of thing.
yeah. So I guess it's just that learnt behaviour of like, you know, what you would expect some, you know, rural Americans. Not that they're not all like that, but
No, of
some
course,
of them were worse than others. But you know, I was stirring them up and like sitting on old blokes' laps and kissing them on the cheek and just doing shit like that, just because I knew that would just get them
Yeah,
fucking
grind
going,
their
and I'm
gears
just
kind of
laughing like just, you know, poking the bear.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know that my uncle, you know, he's like, you're embarrassing me, like, you know, and I go, but this is just me, like,
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah,
And he goes,
it's
I know you
fine.
don't care, but I have to fucking live here when you leave, you know? He's like, this is where I live, and you're related to me, so it reflects badly on everybody.
Yeah, it's that little shit from
Yeah,
Australia.
yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Man. But that's the thing though as well, because it's America. It's 340 million people.
Totally,
There's
totally.
just so many people that live here.
And that's why it was weird, because you know it's such a big country, but then I'm in this like little tiny town.
Yeah.
I'm like, like, there's not much going on out there,
It's
you
like I
know?
said that before as well. It's like driving 12 hours and shit. Like
Yeah.
to drive anyway, it'd take forever, right? But like, how cheap are the flights as well?
Well, when you're flying like around the inside, it was probably like, you know, you maybe like 200 to 500, depending on where you're going.
Is that Australian though? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
That's
but like
alright.
I know from going from Calgary to Las Vegas when I flew, I went from the Calgary Stampede to that show of my mates in Vegas. I think that was only about $168 or something. So
That's not bad.
yeah, you can find deals all the time, but a lot of the time, if I was booking a flight, I'd be like, fuck, like my plans have fucked up, and I need to book a flight. And it's, you know, the later you get them, the more expensive they are. But if you can plan ahead, like it's definitely
actually,
affordable.
like, itinerary out
Totally.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So then with that as well, like, so let's jump back to the band in a way. So like,
Yeah.
the band kind of went different ways in a way, did it? Like,
Yeah.
Because the progression of it, because like you guys toured and you went around Australia and this and that, but then like, what's happening now?
Well, it was definitely, I would probably say creative difference, being that
Because I mean, we all
someone wanted to keep doing covers and playing the big shows because that was financially convenient, and also once we had, you know, there's families involved, like kids, and then houses, like we had mortgages, and so we had less time to put into it. And I wanted to put my time into writing original music, and other people wanted to do covers. And I just was like, I don't want to put my time into this anymore. Also, because of that little thing, there's also a lot of other more
politics and stuff.
totally, like the band politics is fucked, and like especially me and the singer Mitch, both super strong personalities, would butt heads quite often about the way things are done and the finances, which won't go into that because that's a
ball game and a half kind of thing. Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
it,
but-
'cause money causes problems for
totally. And but yeah, I would say that it was probably creative difference, and there was shit going on that was basically, if we had have like kept going, I think it would have like ruined our friendships.
Yeah,
And
so it's best just to
yeah, well,
like,
for me
save it.
personally, because I was like just not gonna, I just didn't want to do it anymore. It just wasn't worth it. Like, it was actually driving me mad. I was like, oh my God. And I think that whole thing, coupled with me partying so much, probably doing too many drugs and all that kind of shit, when that's like kind of what spurred me to leave the band, go sober up and move to America and just, you know,
reset almost.
totally.
Yeah,
and but which is a shame now because of the whole COVID thing and they couldn't play any shows. Now they're all writing fucking original music again. I'm like, oh well.
Yeah.
But you know, Brad, he was in the band for ages with us that we obviously went to school with, and I've always, you know, I've apologized to Brad prior or like after now because it would have been fucked up for him because Brad's obviously not the most like out there kind of, you know, personality wise. And me and Mitch are just like the biggest personalities, like big dudes, and just like rah, just like going off like a 2-bob watch all the time.
Yeah.
And Brad's there, just like the absolute sickest guitar player, just shredding, like writing riffs. But he's caught in the middle of us just being dickheads to each other, and it would have been a shit. I don't think towards the end we were. I don't think we started because we just loved playing music, and then money got involved and just other shit, and the fun part, it stopped being fun. Yeah. And then when I definitely struggled a lot with like kind of identifying, like the first thing that anyone would ask me if I saw him, how's the band going, blah, blah, blah. And I felt like, oh, like if I leave the band, like what am I going to do? Because I'd spent so much time and like I cared about it so much. And it was kind of just like breaking up with a girlfriend in a way, you know, because you love it, you spent so much time with it, but you just know it's not going to work. It's not going to be good for you if you stay. So
yeah, it's just like you got to try and actually figure out what's best for you.
Exactly.
And
Yeah. So, you know, they haven't really done a huge amount of stuff since it's, you know, changed direction. But man, good on them. I'm stoked if they're still playing, and I'm, you know, happy enough learning more about just writing music personally, and it's, you know, I'm gonna do more stuff with my sister. She's awesome talent, really good singer, and she can play guitar and piano, and she's, you know, I'm looking forward to being able to go down that road, and also just not having to deal with anyone else's shit. Like, and I'm sure that I was part of the shit, you know, in the band, but not having to worry about just listening to anyone else. It's nice being in a collaborative setting where everyone gets along, but if everyone's slowly like drifting apart, it's actually hectic.
That's it, like deteriorating kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just...
And is it worth a friendship just to like, you know, and that's where it got to for me. I was like, I'd rather have you guys as mates than us try and keep flogging a dead horse and just end up hating each other, you know?
Well, it's good that you kind of came to the point where you actually realised, it's like, well, look, I value the friendship a lot more than the financial stress and everything else that's coming along with the band, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, maybe it's time kind of thing. But would you get back in another band? Or
I'd love to get into another band, but obviously working FIFO now. So me, Brad and Jared, who all played in the band, the three of us are actually really keen to get back because we were the three that never really had any dramas. We just wrote the music and we just get it done, and we would always just have fun. And the three of us been going through all the old music that we recorded on our phones or demoed and on our little recording setup in the jam space, and we've got like 50 plus songs that we've got written that we're like, oh, like should we focus on this? And we would like to. I think the plan is, but you know, Muggsy's got 2 kids, and Brad works FIFO, and so does Jared. So it's just to even get us a week all at home together is nearly impossible.
Yeah.
But our kind of goal is to maybe record, you know, 2 to 4 songs within the next, you know, 6 to 12 months, just for ourselves, you know. And if we can get a few shows here and there or whatever, it'd be awesome. But if not, just to like have fun with each other and just jam, because we all miss playing in the band. But
that's it as well, because it's like when you actually get up on stage and you're all like super tight and just work well.
It's so
together.
good. It's the best feeling.
Yeah, you just like the magic happens kind of thing in a way.
Yeah, so hopefully we can find some time, but if not, we'll you know,
we'll touch wood.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure something out. It'll be good though. I can't wait.
Yeah,
but I'm still keen to, you know, making more electronic music as well. I'm hell enjoying just learning about just how to do it, you know. I had a bit of a...
That's the thing, because there is a pathway down that route as well. And so like, even if you actually go like, you know, live electronic act, you could even get on like the drums and like play.
Well, that's kind of the direction that me and my sister are thinking about going down if we can start. We've written a few songs together, but that would be, I think, what we would do, like have some live and like also maybe some like kind of drum pad type things and like loop stations and her playing keys and guitar or whatever, and I've got, you know, some like small synthesizers and have like a MIDI keyboard running it all through an interface and then out and
Well, so many people do it. I mean, look at the White Stripes. Look at who was I thinking of just before? Shock One and Razor Lee, like his sister, like they're brother and sister, and
they shred.
Yeah, they kill it every single time.
Oh
like,
man, did you see them live when he?
No.
He played like he's got like a band together.
Yeah,
that would be pretty sick.
Yeah, did you see them?
I didn't.
No.
I wanted to. I was like, hopefully someone has, you know.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
But it just seems like everything's starting to reopen again. Because that's why I brought up Vegas, is because like I think it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago, Vegas started throwing shows again.
Yeah.
They had like Dead Mouse play, and they had Knife Party, and someone else played 2 nights ago as well. And it's like, it seems like over in America,
I'm pretty sure EDC's on this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is in like end of July.
Yeah, like they're actually like getting their shit together in a way, because I mean, COVID's gonna be COVID, but what else can you do with 340 million people? Just let the good times roll. Like
no
guess,
shit.
kind of.
I know. Plus, I'm pretty sure like a shitload of people have actually been vaccinated over there.
Yeah, that's it. And the same thing with the UK. I was talking to a friend, and I think like 60% have got they've got herd immunity over there or something like that.
There you go.
But then it's just the different variants and different things that happen, and
yeah, I honestly have just like tuned out so hard now, because I'm just like, oh my god, there's just so much shit, so much misinformation, and then you get all the bloody like hippie influencer chicks being like fucking 5G and all this shit, and you just see like there's so much conspiracy and just like misinformation that I just honestly don't have the time to like cipher through it all myself, and
actually try and figure out what's real and what's fake. Because another friend of mine said, it might have been you, Damo, maybe. It's like every 4 articles that get released, and if 3 are fake, or like 1's fake and 3 are real, the fake one will go further.
Yeah, probably.
Because it's just like, it's got a more of a, it might not, maybe you might have said that, I don't know. It might have been someone else, but it's just like, because it has more of a spin to it, and it makes it sound like, oh my god, 5G's bad for you. And it's like, people go, wait a minute, and then people can test that, and then next thing you know, the world's flat.
Oh man, I know. It's funny to watch, but it's just going.
Yeah, it's just like, what the fuck's happening? Like, what's happening to society, kind of thing.
But you know, I feel like I'm young and healthy. Cat. Young and healthy enough to. I'm not too. Not too concerned. Like.
What can you do?
And we're just so lucky.
What are we gonna do? Consider the fucking virus.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
exactly. Yeah. Can live in fear or just carry on. And we're so lucky to have lived in WA this whole time. It's just been chill.
Yeah.
It's been so nice. I actually honestly had one of the best years I've ever had last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? What made it so good? Like,
just like
shit.
No, I loved it. I was just focused. I was working. That was a positive thing. I didn't work I worked at the start and then had a couple of months off in the middle and then chilled out, made music, just was focused and had a direction of where I wanted to go coming out of it. And then I'm like, it's actually not too bad. I see all this carnage. I think also knowing how bad it's been other places was kind of selfish, but it's made me realize like, this is really good. I should be grateful for.
Well, that's it. We're just so lucky to be here.
And then obviously working up, you just go up onto the bloody mines and just chill. You like fly up there. Everyone's like, "How are you on a plane?" I'm like, "Well, in WA, there is no coronavirus, you know."
Yeah.
And go get fed, looked after, do your work, and come home and go to Duns, bro. You're laughing.
And keep on trucking.
That's
it. Go surfing and this and that. And there you go. But that's it. Like for me, I thought the whole world was falling apart. Like,
I bet, because was that your main source of income? Just like bang, gone.
DJing every weekend. Like, all right, like this is how I make a living. I don't know if hospitality is going to happen anymore.
Oh, dude, that would have been so stressful. Like, I do feel for people that had, hospitality jobs or entertainment, even still, like people that, work as like, put on gigs in the entertainment industry.
So many people lost money. And it's just like the thought of it's like, are bars and pubs and nightclubs ever going to open again? Because like that's what I thought was going to happen in America and England and all the other countries. It's just like, okay, well, if they open a nightclub, because South Korea. South Korea opened up their nightclubs for like a weekend.
Yeah.
And it was like 5,000 people got reinfected or some shit.
Really?
From like 2 dudes or 1 dude or something like that.
Fuck.
But it's just we live in very uncertain times.
Totally.
And that's the thing is like. In 10 years, what's the next virus going to be? What else is going to happen?
Well, that's the thing. Get into all the bloody, all the conspiracies about it, and it's just like, oh, fuck, here we go. Like, what's next? Like, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
But
we're living in very interesting times.
Yeah.
And, like, it's so good that we've been, we were born with, Motorola flip phones,
Yeah.
Nokias and shit like that, and then, like,
even
iPhones
before, like, the little Nokia, 3310 with the little snake, and you'd be like,
exactly,
yeah, boy, it wasn't even a color screen. And
yeah. But now it's like everything's just like, iPads and iPhones and everything else. And like the way everything's developed is like.
And so fast as well. Like,
yeah.
Also, bloody, there's going to be shit going to Mars soon, which is just crazy.
Yeah.
That's only a couple of years away. I grew up like reading the encyclopedias and shit. You have to go and look in an encyclopedia to get the information in primary school. And I used to love all that space stuff and be like, whoa, I'm looking up at the moon and everything. And now just that, it's only been, 28 years that we've been around, and this bloke's sending shit to Mars. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's actually crazy.
Yeah, life's getting very full on. It's very interesting.
I'm excited to see what comes of all that Mars business.
It's going to be very interesting. We've only got 10 minutes left. Have we got any comments or anything?
Oh, here we go. Yeah, Billy. So that's basically 4 of the guys that played in the band.
Very nice. Yeah, shout out to the guys.
Shout out guys in the band for listening. Woohoo. I can actually rank them all by best and worst guitar players if you want.
All right, yeah, go for it.
Brad would probably be the best guitar player technically, but Jared is he's my kindred spirit. And then see, Connor and Billy have very similar skills. But I can't actually. But they're both pretty good. Billy's just more fun to get on the piss with.
Yeah.
Although Connor is Irish, and you'd think he would be the good drinker, but he's a little bitch.
Very nice. So, where else? Like, so what do you see the future holding for you? Like, what direction do you want to go into? Stuff like that? Because I mean, like, music is music.
I know. I think I'll always do it. But like I was saying, like I feel grateful to have had the opportunities. Like, if I never played another show, I would be okay with that. Although I will try to keep stuff rolling along. I'd like to create more of my own original music with my sister or with Brad and Jared.
Yeah.
And at least release some music. It'd be cool to play more shows, but it's more of like it's just like in me, and I want to just get it out. I feel like annoyed at myself. Yeah, it's an expression thing. But I'm also enjoying being more organized in my life and like putting money into my house and doing all these things. It's like, I guess some would say growing up. Yeah. I'm actually enjoying like the progression of, where we're going, and we've got an awesome girlfriend and super supportive of everything that I want to do. And, so yeah, just looking forward to, just progressing and having more long-term goals set, I think, is instead of just living for the weekend and getting loose as fuck with everyone and then, gotta wait for the next weekend, and probably more goal-orientated focus of, and that's like, the thing of going, all right, well, maybe I'll try and release 2 songs by the end of the year or something, and then just chipping away at those rather than going, I should have written 2 songs when I sat down on my computer for 20 minutes today, like, which just doesn't happen. So
right, so you just got to let your creativity flow naturally, though. Because like, if you try and rush it, then it doesn't sound as good as sat there and just like
exactly. But sometimes you do get those lightning in a bottle moments, and you just like just whip something sick out. What about you? Where are you headed?
Oh fuck! Just keep DJing, and then I guess just hopefully start working the same job as my brother and stacking cash.
Yeah, sick. And I guess the thing is, you'll still be able to come back
Hopefully,
and book yourself, you know, a couple of gigs on the... Because that's what I do. I come home and try and do one cashy when I'm home from work, and then I've got a little bit of spending money and...
Well, see, that's the way I've looked at it as well. Because like, what I would love to be able to do is that if I could start doing the same job that my brother's doing, put all of that money in savings, and then come back and just work DJ Friday, Saturday.
Totally. And then you don't have to touch any of that other money.
That's it.
You just set all your direct debits up or whatever, and then
yeah,
you know, what do you get, like a couple of $300, $400, $600 for a DJ set? So you do 2 of those.
Yeah.
And see if they can pay cash, and then you just, you know what I mean, get them to pay you cash.
No one does cash these days anymore.
Hopefully the tax department isn't listening to this podcast.
That's exactly. If you are, tune out. But yeah, I don't know. It's a bit uncertain because, like I said, like what we said before as well, with COVID, it fucked everything up.
Yeah.
Because I always had the idea that I was just going to DJ till I dropped.
Yep.
And just keep doing it and doing it and doing it because my best mate who actually taught me how to DJ.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's almost 50 years old and he's still doing it.
Yeah.
And like he's lived, in my opinion, he's lived such a.
Well, do you know Swami?
Swami, no.
Swami from down south, same dude. He's like 55, been DJing forever. Like, and he loves it. He goes and plays at bloody like Blazing Swan, and he's DJed at all these sick festivals and all these. He's just been doing it forever, and then he'd go do wedding DJing and he's got all his own gear, so he doesn't have to hire anything. Yeah, so he just gets paid shitloads. He's got his lights and all the speakers, and he'd go and do 3 weddings in a weekend and make like fucking $6,000 or something, you know.
That's it, yeah. But that's the thing though. It's because it's just at the moment I'm just playing it by ear, just seeing what can happen, because it's like what my best mate told me is like, do what makes you happy. Yeah. That's what you should do. Because,
exactly.
You know, at the end of the day, we're just people on this fucking earth, and we don't get to control what the government does. Kind of. Like, you get to vote, of course. But
that's about it, yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. And it's like, you know, if something happens like COVID happens, well, you don't get to control that. No. Like, no one gets to control that. Something just happens and changes everything up. And you have to reanalyze what you're doing, kind of thing. Yeah,
exactly.
And it's just like,
and like I say, if you're enjoying what you're doing, like, you're not going to get that time back. You know, if you're having fun and
living it up,
going to bed with a smile on your face, that's a good day.
That's exactly
a good day, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good day. Yeah, and going on 3-day benders and just
naughty
4-day benders actually. Yeah,
it's 4th day for you, is it?
Yeah, technically.
I guess it was a long weekend, so you would have been busy, eh?
Yeah, exactly. I was quite busy, but you know, it's life.
Yeah, good.
Life's just fun and just drinking beers.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got to wrap this up. Is there anything else you want to add as well at all?
No. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. It's good to see you after all these years. It's been fucking ages.
Well, whenever you're in Perth, we'll catch up for beers.
For sure.
We'll get loose.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Yeah. So this is episode 79.
79.
Yeah. Yeah, so thanks, Tal. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, boy.
And thank you, Damo.
Thanks, Damo.
Yeah.
Bloody young Damo over there.
Yeah. Young Damo. All right, so Damo makes us wave at the cameras when we go. So we'll see you guys next week. I'm
Goodbye.
Pretty sure I got a band on next week, actually. Let's have a look quickly. Next week I have... the Rah Rah Viper
Oi,
band.
Bullshit. That's my girlfriend's cousins.
Really?
Yeah. So that'll be funny. Say g'day to them for me. Harry and Jack Tessa, the young boys, the legends.
Yeah, they're, from what I've seen, they're killing it a bit. Like,
yeah, they are. We just saw them probably 3 weeks ago down in Margaret River.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They were playing with, I want to say, Old Mervs they were playing with. But, yeah, I hadn't seen them before. They were sick. Classic.
Yeah, because I stumbled upon them on Instagram. I was like, wait a minute, their music's pretty sick.
Oh, no way. My missus will laugh. That's classic.
And I just messaged them, was like, you want to come on my podcast? Like, yeah, sure. I'm like, all right, fuck yeah. Let's fuck
How good. Yeah. Oh, wicked.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, so yeah, I'll see you guys next week then. And yeah, cheers for coming on again.
Yeah, boy.
All right, catch ya. Wave. Everybody wave.